Yo, what is going on, guys? Jack here, and welcome to episode 70 of our Tracksuit to the Top series here with Lewis FC in the Premier League. Hopefully you guys are good. If you missed last episode, as always, go check it out. It was our end of season review. We kind of talked about the squad, plans for the future, what went on last year, and today we kick off our second year in the Premier League, and what a time to be alive. Lewis, third year in the Premier League, and of course, we do have continental football in the Europa League, which is exciting times. So anyway, obviously new season, new faces, new signings. Let's talk about them. Transfers are always the bit that are a bit interesting going into the year. So looking at our spend for this year, we've actually made a total of £39.5 million in sales. Free sales making up the bulk of that. And on the ins, we've signed £37.6 million worth of players. So actually making a profit in terms of the kind of signings. Anyway, talking about the big departures, the first one here, Rolando Aarons. Talked a bit about this guy last episode, but he's left us. He's joined Freiburg for £9.5 million. He was a good player for us last year, but with us moving away from our kind of wider midfield system, he just doesn't play as an essential role, I guess, in the team. Last year he played 18 games, he did okay, but to get £9.5 million for a player who you signed on a free 4 years prior, I think is very good business, and he's done his time with the club, he's improved the club, he's improved as a player himself, and I think £9.5 million is a kind of fair deal. Anyway, the next player, Stefano Denswell, a player who we signed last year on a free, and he joined us. He joined us on a free. He's left us for £13 million to go to West Ham. Of course, West Ham finishing one place above us in the league table, also competing in the Europa League. He was a good player for us, don't get me wrong, but for a player who we signed on a free, £13 million was a very, very good offer, and I was quite willing to, I guess, depart him and get the money in. And the last player who we sold was Esteban Polidrotti, the Argentine, a player who we signed with long-term aspirations. I thought he could be a long-term solution to, I guess, our team. But United came in with a very good offer. They signed him for £17 million for us. He joined us for £4 million last year, so that's a really nice profit made in 1 year. Looking at him, he played 31 league games for us, but he only averaged a 6.8 rating, so he was quite underwhelming. And for that reason, I was really kind of quite happy to let him go. You know, he's not super young at 24. He's a very good player, don't get me wrong, but he just didn't really wow me last year, and for £17 million there were certainly areas elsewhere to invest in. The only other notable departure was Victor Garcia, the Honduras international who's now joined Crystal Palace, of course, a key part of our team for our championship year. Last year he failed to make a single appearance for us, and the year before that, in our second year with him in the side and our first year in the Premier League, he didn't do very well. 16 appearances, a 6.72 rating. I kind of hope this guy does well. He was a player who certainly helped us out in the kind of right back position in the Championship, but I don't see him as anything more than that. He does join Crystal Palace, who, if we take a look at, are in the Championship, so I kind of feel like he's going to be playing at his level now, and I'm kind of happy that he's got a move that suits him. Anyway, looking at the ins, I guess where things get a little bit interesting. Roberto, a player who I talked a lot about previously a few episodes ago. Very good player, looks a bit like Jesus. He's only 18, we're currently training his stamina. I'm hoping that's going to help his stamina and his natural fitness improve. Two real kind of glaring weaknesses, I guess, with this guy. But he's only 18, he's got loads of potential to fulfill. And I'm kind of excited to see what this guy might do in the striker position. Of course, £10 million spent, so I'm certainly looking for a return on our investment. But as you can see, he's expected to be a very good player. Inconsistent and has injury issues, which is a bit of a concern. Two factors which I didn't know about upon signing him. But, you know, time will tell if that turns out to be a good bit of business. The big transfer this window was this guy, Soares. An amazing player. He's 21, he's Brazilian. We signed him for £20 million from Corinthians. Splashed out the money on this guy. You can actually see he's not played for the Brazil first team, but I actually found him via their national team squad. I'm just curious if he's still in the squad. He actually isn't, so they actually dropped him after he joined us. But he's a player who's on the verge, I guess, of getting a Brazilian cap. I think he's on the verge of a big move to Europe, or would have been if we hadn't got him for him. But a great player. We are going to be playing him this year as a complete forward. He's not the best player in the air, but besides that, he's got great physicals, you know, amazing speed, good dribbling, good finishing, some fairly solid mentals. I love the fact he has good vision and teamwork, and obviously passing. It means that he can play obviously in midfield, and he is a natural attacking midfielder as well as natural striker, so he's quite versatile in that regard. And if things do get desperate and we do suffer a few injuries, he can slot in and play the trequartista role adequately, I guess. But for £20 million, I'm hoping for a big return on our investment. But he's a fantastically talented player. He's young. Looking at his report, you can see leading player for most Premier League sides. My assistant thinks he has room to improve. He relishes big matches. I'm kind of excited to see what he can do. A lot of these other transfers were regens who we'd already signed, but we did make some big loan moves. The first player here, Pablo Insua. Just a good centre-back. Got him on loan from Barcelona. Obviously, with us qualifying for the Europa League, one of my big kind of worries even last year when we didn't have Europa League football was our strength in depth, and we really needed to add a few more players to, alleviate those worries from my mind. So Insua's a good player, good little centre-back. The next player we have is Casemiro, good defensive midfielder, another Brazilian. Obviously, he's played a fair few international games. He's not incredible. He joins us on loan from FC Porto, and he's just a very good defensive-minded midfielder with some good creativity as well. So he'll be able to play that ball-winning midfielder role for us just about, but he's also very useful to have on off the bench as a creative outlet. Next player here is Manuel Jesus. Just joins us as a backup striker from Granada. He's a good player. I'm kind of surprised they're loaning him out. We're only paying £9,000 a year for him. And he has something good about him. He's a good poacher. Hopefully he can grab goals if we do need him. Really, he's just a fourth choice striker, and he was a lot cheaper than potentially signing a player coming in at £60,000 a month. The last player, the most expensive of our loanees, is this guy, Mifembu. He joins us. He can play left back. We are training him to play right back as well, and we've got him on loan from Benfica. I just think he's going to be a very good fullback, really, and a useful player to have on the bench, and particularly a good backup player, because obviously fullback's been a bit of an issue position for us. With us selling Paul Drotti for £17 million to United, we needed to get a replacement in. So he kind of fits that, but actually the main replacement comes in the space and in the face, and I guess in the form is what I was really looking for, of Gaston Romero, who, as you can see, we only signed for £2.6 million. But looking at this guy, he's actually a very good fullback. His attributes Polygon I don't feel does him justice. But if you just look at him as a wing-back defend, he's a good player there. He's very good and kind of well-rounded as a whole, and he's a good player. Obviously, we've only paid £2.6 million for him. I don't think he's our long-term solution to the fullback position. But I think he's going to be a good player for us. If we just compare the two players, you can see here, Paul Drotti just had a little bit more about him in a lot of different areas. But Romero has some decent physicals. He's a little bit better in the air, which might help. And for the price we've got him in, I think he's a kind of more than adequate replacement. And we've made, good work of the money that we did get from the initial sale. So those are the transfers. We haven't spent that much really, other than on our two main men. Roberto's a massive risk. I hope it comes off. If it comes off, it could be huge. If it doesn't, then I'm going to look like an absolute idiot spending £10 million on a player purely because he has some good mentals and good technical and finishing and kind of attacking attributes. And the other player, Suarez, I have quite a lot of faith that he's going to be a big player for us. I think he can certainly bang in the goals for us. So anyway, looking at our team and how we will line up, this is kind of the team that we have for our first game of the year. We are playing Reading, which I believe is not the first time we played Reading to kick off the season. Worth noting that Pedreira is injured, which is a shame. He's out for 10 days to 2 weeks with a groin strain. Batagelli is out for 3 to 4 weeks with a back strain. So that's a little bit problematic, but we've got the adequate replacement to come in. Obviously, we are sticking with our 4-3-1-2 system. Looking at the team, no massive changes. Obviously, a little bit of a rejig at the back. A few players in on loan who are going to be coming into the first team. But Harayan, who's kind of in the staple of our back kind of line for the last 2 years, retains his position for the third year in a row. In midfield, Sonogo, China and Juan Carlos Leon still chilling out. And obviously in the final third, we are going to be playing Matthew Lewis as the poacher, who of course has now joined us permanently for £5 million. And alongside him, Sora is our new player. That does mean Ihin Nacho is being kind of demoted to the bench. He's had a little bit of interest from a few different clubs. We've been asking for £40 million. He's actually worth £19 million, which for theoretically our third choice striker seems a little bit high. If we got an offer in the range of £30 million, I would have to strongly consider accepting it. But he's a good player to have on off the bench, and he's obviously a proven goal scorer in the Premier League. So before we get started, just a quick look at the season preview. Of course, something that I couldn't show last episode in the kind of end of season review. But if we look at it here, we're actually predicted to finish 6th, which is a really good improvement because I believe last year we were predicted to finish 13th. Obviously, last year we actually ended up finishing 7th, so that was a good improvement. But to be predicted to finish 6th, there's a little bit of a burden on our shoulders, I guess. We're seen as kind of the team, I guess, just off the lead pack. You look at Arsenal, Chelsea, United, Liverpool, Man City, kind of established players who you expect to be good. There's certainly going to be maybe a little bit of pressure on us to get that top 6 finish, and maybe, just maybe, if we kind of outperform ourselves, we can maybe finish a little bit higher up. Looking at the key player for the key players for us, Eric Sanogo's the first guy here. Obviously, he broke his leg last year, and that was a big issue. But he's come back. He's almost at match fitness. Obviously, still pre-season, so that can explain that. But a good player nevertheless. And the other player we have is Juan Carlos Leon, who is more than match fit. Obviously, the young Mexican had a great first year in the Premier League. We signed him for £9 million. He had a good year. Looking for him to kind of, I guess, better himself on that, build himself up from that. And I think this could be a good year for our side. We've got a good young squad. Looking at our overall team, mostly players who are fairly familiar names, particularly higher up the pitch. Obviously, we've added a little bit of quality and a little bit more depth, particularly in the back 4 position. Looking at our overall squad balance, I'm pretty happy with how things kind of lie at the moment. I kind of feel like we have the right balance in terms of players who can play every position, which is very pleasing to be able to see. And going into this first game of the year, I'm quite optimistic we might be able to get a result against Reading and kind of get our season off to a flyer. Obviously, we have got the Europa League to look forward to. That is going to mean there's going to be a few more episodes this kind of season as opposed to perhaps the last few seasons, and indeed any season really in this save, because there's going to be a lot more domestic football and a lot more kind of continental football to talk about. Last year, obviously, I didn't focus too much on the league, and that's something I'd like to do a little bit more of. Obviously, we kind of outdid ourselves last year in finishing 6th, or it was 7th in the end last year. We really outdid ourselves in terms of what I anticipated. I was anticipating a mid-table finish, maybe Europe through the Cups. In the end, despite a very nervy end of the season, we obviously built upon that. And I'm looking for more of the same this year. So we'll see how we get on anyway. Leon's here. Sanogo. Suarez. Oh, tackled. That was a chance. I really want to see him get a goal early on. There's nothing worse than kind of getting in your new striker for £20 million and then he just can't seem to find the back of the net. So good to see him find the ball at feet there, creating some space for himself. I guess our big kind of hopes for this year are really that he can pay off, because £20 million for a player in our position, that really is an investment basically on the anticipation that we are going to see him score a few, and he is going to be the kind of player who can ensure and kind of secure us, I guess, back-to-back Premier League, or not Premier League, continental kind of seasons in terms of competing at a continental level. But time will tell on that front. We're on the attack here. Looking at the stats, we have dominated the game early on, which is pleasing. Obviously, we've had that one clear-cut chance which was blocked, and now we're on the attack. Leon, Sanogo, fouled there by Kuhl. I don't know if that was a bad foul or not, but Sanogo is lethal from this range with free kicks, so maybe he can swing something in on his left peg, because this is what he does. This is what he does. Keeper parries it. Harayan with the rebound. Take a bow, my son. An unlikely goal scorer, perhaps our centre-back, but he was alive to the free kick threat. Gets the rebound in. And you'd have to say we deserve that lead, because 25 minutes in, we are really having a lot more of the play, more possession, better pass completion by quite a margin, really. And it finally counts, and that was a very unconvincing goalkeeping by their keeper there. And Harayan just does a very good job, I guess, of squeezing it in from the tight angle. But anyway, good start, playing very well. I believe this fixture last year we may have even slipped up in, so if we could improve that would be fantastic. Obviously, Matthew Lewis back full time, hits it, saved by Darlow. Maybe an option in the box, cleared away. That was a clear-cut chance. But delighted to have Matthew Lewis back. Of course, he has been at the club for the last 3 years, but to sign him permanently for only £5 million was great. Although we sold him for £3.3 million because of some of the clauses involved, which involve sell-on fees. The sell-on fees, despite us paying for the player that we already had the sell-on fee for, and the clauses for, we actually got money back in terms of, because Newcastle sold Matthew Lewis on for a profit as the team who he was prior to Newcastle, and despite the fact we signed him, we actually got the money, which is a little bit odd because it kind of goes into their bank account and then straight back. But anyway, we'll see what we can do here. And Sewer caught way out of position and leaving us frail at the back. Babacar Castillo hits the crossbar. That will be cleared away. just about, but that's not a good sign. Looking at the stats, Reading's kind of getting back into this game in the second half at the moment. We've not been great. We've not been great, you'd have to say. I mean, we've certainly had the better of the play, but we've not killed off the game. We've not had a ton of chances, and that's, I wouldn't say necessarily concerning, but you know, I'd like to see us perhaps doing a little bit more with the play. With 20 minutes left though, we are still in the lead. 3 points is obviously the main priority here. Goal difference would be good. As I mentioned, Suarez grabbing a goal would be delightful, but the 3 points is important, although we are defending here. Suarez picks up the ball. Oh, he turns him. Tries to thread through Joe Allen, who isn't the paciest man in the world, and goes on his own little run, leaving us frail at the back. Carroll's there. Romero, though, with a great save. And now China to Lewis. Suarez. Sonogo. This is nice play. Sonogo to Lewis. Suarez. Oh, what a goal that would have been. That was a really nice play between kind of our trio up front with, obviously, Sonogo, one of the three, but playing slightly behind. But unfortunately, couldn't direct its way goalwards. But nevertheless, good to see some interplay between those players. Obviously, Sonogo and Matthew Lewis played with each other for a few years now. But it's going to be interesting to see how Suarez kind of beds himself into the team, as he might have a chance here if Lewis picks out the pass, but he doesn't. Now Reading on the counter. We're still committing a fair few men forward. I'm still not 100% convinced with perhaps the balance of this formation that we use. I still feel like sometimes it perhaps leaves us a little bit exposed at the back, but we're doing okay. Although Hopkins here, Carroll scores and makes it 1-1. That is not what I wanted. That is not what I wanted. And as I mentioned, it does leave us exposed at the back, and we've kind of been caught a little bit short there. Although we've got plenty of men in the middle, we're just not really man marking. There's whoever that is there, you've done a poor job of marking. Joe Allen just goes on a little wander, and there's always a man free in the box from that point onwards. And unfortunately for us, it has cost us there. It'd be disappointing to slip up here because we've definitely been the better team. But unfortunately for us, it looks like it might be a draw. It might even be even worse as Manning has a free kick, although it is blocked. Can we deal with a second ball? We can. Harrian. Suarez is there. Show £20 million worth, my son. He runs down the line. He cuts inside. He keeps running. Hits it. Darlow tips it over. What a goal that would have been. That's a promising sign, though. Nevertheless, we've whipped in the ball here. Is there a chance? Is there a chance? Leon? Players in the box. China's there. Hit it. Why not? Oh, blocked away. That was a good run by Suarez, though. If he can do more of that and bury it at the end of it, I will be very happy with a £20 million investment. Still on the attack. Sonogo, was he fouled? He wasn't. China's injured. That is not a good sign. He won't be able to run off this injury. Oh dear. Please don't be serious. Please don't be a serious injury. I feel like I get horrific luck during live comms with injuries. That might just... I don't feel like I get that many injuries outside of live comms, but whenever I'm commentating in sewer... I don't care about injuries. It's 2-1. We have rescued potentially a late win. I don't want to say it too soon and curse it, but it's a set-piece goal. Sonogo with the ball in. Is it Leon at the back post? I'm not sure. It may have been a defender who headed it, but Insua is the fastest to react. He buries it. He makes it 2-1. And I'm a very happy bunny now. Just see out this result, boys. Kill the clock. 2-1. Not necessarily convincing, but it's a win nevertheless, and these are the kind of wins that perhaps you need to get. As Romero will pick up the play there, and that is all she wrote. What a game, what a result. I'm very happy with that win, boys. Very happy. Sonogo getting the key player award. Key player isn't an award, Jack. Harrian grabbing the man of the match award. And all in all, a good start to our season. Obviously, that was the Monday night game. Looking at where that sees us in the kind of grand scheme of things, we've got some big games coming up, but I think the European group stage is kind of the big game to perhaps livecom. Looking at our next few fixtures, we have got Chelsea, Liverpool, Manchester United, and Arsenal in horrifically quick succession. So I may do some kind of double livecom for one or two of those videos, and kind of in the coming episodes for one or two of those games. We'll see how things go. If you have enjoyed this video, guys, of course, smash the like button. It does greatly help me out. Let me know what you make of my signings. I'm very, very excited to see what Suarez can do. £20 million was a big investment for a player who's yet to play first-team football for Brazil, but he's just an amazing player, and he showed some good play in the last game. So we'll see how he gets on. Obviously, he is on big money, but he is on a 5-year deal. So I'm putting quite a lot of faith in this guy to come big for us. He showed some glimpses of form in the previous game, and we'll see how it goes. But anyway, that's going to wrap things up from me. Hopefully you enjoyed this episode as always. If you did, smash the like button. If you're new to my channel, hit the subscribe button. And other than that, it is me, Jack, and I'll talk to you guys in a bit. I'm out.